Hello, everybody. Joe the Lawyer here. Welcome to another episode of Analog Man Cave. Much appreciate you guys joining me wherever you join me, because a lot of people seems like are picking it up on Spotify. I know Apple Podcasts is getting some action because you can watch this anywhere now. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Locals, Rumble, and YouTube. So I appreciate you guys wherever you're watching me. And for all you guys on the newer, other than Yoo-hoo, Jesus, I want a Yoo-hoo now. Other than the YouTube platforms, I've uploaded a good chunk of videos, probably like 25 or 30 that I'm working on now, and the more recent ones, but there's probably a couple hundred over on YouTube, so go check it out, guys. And please like and subscribe to this because it helps the algorithm. All right, without further ado and bullshit at the beginning, today what we are talking about are TPKs. I was going to release this on Sunday, but I was crunched on time, and plus I had a problem with it because I didn't want to release shit. I didn't want to release something just to release something every single day, so I wanted to take my time because the biggest problem is that I've never had a TPK. I've never had a full-blown TPK, either as a player or as a GM. As I'm looking back over the years of 40 years, I'm like, Jesus, man, I can pretty much talk with authority from first hand perspective on most everything at this point, but I've never had a full TPK. Either that or I'm just old and fucking forgot, or Gen X, and we don't give a shit, so it never really stuck with me, right? But I don't remember one. But that being said, I do have a lot of experience with other things, and I understand what it's all about with a TPK here. So let me just get into it now. The rough. I mean, for all you don't know, TPK stands for Total Party Kill. It's where the whole party dies. Right? Everyone is dead. Now, as a GM, you should not try to avoid them because having a no TPK safety net, it deprives the players of a good time. No risk is no fun, but they can be campaign-ending events. Right? Now, from the player's perspective, depending on what happened, it could be a big deal. If they've been playing that PC for a few years in a long campaign, they probably got a lot invested in them. There's always an emotional attachment that develops by a player towards their favorite or their long-term PC. You hang around together for a while. You sort of like, Bill the Bard or whatever. So it can be hard. It can be devastating for some people too, especially in a game like mine where I do not allow any form of resurrection ever. So if the PC dies, he's dead. Okay, that's it. Dead. End of story, period. Full stop, as the British say. For other games where the GM allows some sort of resurrection, it might not be that bad. Maybe there's a loss of XP or some kind of like health, con, hit point loss or something like that, depending on the system you're using or whatever. I don't know. But from a GM's perspective, you're often looking at the ending of a campaign. If it happens early on when the PCs are only a couple levels in, the campaign might be resurrected in some way. But at higher levels, it's all but impossible to resurrect the campaign without resurrection spells. Now, this is tempting as a DM at this point because, God, you invested so much in the campaign and it's all going to be ruined and you're so close to the end of it and blah, blah, blah. But for house ruling that resurrection, I could finish my campaign and they'd be happier. Don't do it. Don't freaking do it. It cheapens the game. Honestly, better off at that point just starting a whole new campaign. Now, for the rest of this, what I'm going to talk about here, I'm going to talk about TPKs where there is no resurrection of any kind allowed, like in my game. If you can resurrect a dead group, then even though they all died, I don't think it's a TPK. It's a TP long rest with maybe some penalty or something. And that's all it is. It's not a TPK, though, if you could resurrect them. And so, honestly, don't be a pussy GM and make up some kind of a workaround to the no resurrection rule. Don't make it a dream sequence or some prophetic vision that you saw or retcon it through some Star Trek, The Next Generation, space-time continuum, multiverse bullshit or something like that. It's dead. They're dead. Okay? It's over with. Deal. When a TPK happens, the first thing you need to do is, honestly, get a bunch of shot glasses and raise a toast to the glorious dead. That's it. Fill it with something, even if it's water if you don't drink. You got to do a shot. You got to do a toast. And then you pause and you take a breath and you decide what you all want to do next. If the players want to continue the campaign, you should just start rolling up new PCs right there on the spot. I wouldn't start them as the same level as the other PCs, though. Doing that takes away from the depth of the loss. There needs to be consequences. They should all be first level. As a GM, you need to regroup and take some time and think about how you're going to get this campaign going again. Now, there's stuff going on in the world that the PCs, the dead ones, were handling. Do not try to put these new PCs in the shoes of the other PCs in any way. That's very important. It's got to be completely different. They should be coming at it from a whole new direction. a new starting town in a new region, new rumors, new adventures. Set it 6 months, 12 months into the future. Do not tell the players what the outcome of all the bad stuff was that the old group was trying to handle. Just tell the players that everything that was going on in the game world is over and done with, that the old PCs were chasing down or doing. And this is a new group, a future timeline in some way, and let's see what develops. Now, let this group go out, kick ass, take names, level up. But later, maybe. Let's say they come across some of the stuff the other group was doing. Maybe the big bad guy in the old group, they're trying to take out, that defeated him or something. Maybe he went on and had glory. Maybe he got powerful. Maybe he set up a stronghold or took over a town or a region, and he's going to war, taking over the lands around it, raising undead armies. Who knows, right? So the new group finds out about Bluto, the bad guy, and the new group of PCs, and they want. Obviously, the players themselves are on a personal mission of vengeance. They want to kill that son of a bitch, right? They have a nemesis they can hate with a white-hot passion of 10,000 suns. Is this meta? To let the players impart a desire to kill the old bad guy onto their new PCs, even though their new PCs probably wouldn't give a shit? Oh yeah, it definitely is meta. But who cares? Because there's nothing more fun than when your players have a burning desire to kill somebody like that, Now, that's if they want to continue the campaign. That's how I would do it. If they don't want to continue the campaign, that's fine. Maybe you take a break and develop a new game or a new campaign and let another player run something for a while. Sometimes a break between the campaigns is a good thing. If you, let you get your creative juices back. So what's very important, though, is you have to write up what happened in the game world because of the failure of the PCs. Their death, their failure has consequences. Put that into the setting. Like, for example, Bluto here. What happened to Bluto, the bad guy they didn't kill? Did he indeed, conquer regions, set up an undead army, raise, whatever it is, write it down, okay? This is how you make a living, breathing campaign world. The next time the players are romping around in your world, in a different region or something, they can hear rumors of stuff that happened where the old PCs died on the other side of the world. This helps add to the immersion. It makes them feel like they're part of something living and breathing. Now, like I said before, this is kind of hard to write because, I don't know, I just didn't have a single TPK. But what I did have, I think, is even worse than a TPK. That's a partial TPK. I think it was about 4 years ago, maybe, or 5. I was running this 5e game with my brother and local friends, most of which we've been playing since college, And there was a big combat. Wizards were pelting the group with fireballs. So the group, they all took a big one to the face. A lot of Beavis and Butthead fans are like, thinking of what I just said there. But yeah, they all took a big fireball to the face, and they were all standing in a big clump. My brother got his 2 PCs, he's running 2 at the time, out of the clump. But for some reason, all the other PCs, none of them fucking moved. So, all right, I'm seeing a good target here. They got hit with another fireball. So they still didn't move, and the third fireball came out and took them all out. Now, since it's 5e, they're all down, but they're in what I call death save land. They're under 0 hit points, but they're not dead yet, and they haven't rolled their death saves because I like to do that after somebody kicks the tires or checks the bodies, right? So nobody knows until you actually how many rounds have passed. Okay, now you start rolling your death saves. I like that better. But my brother had the capability. He had his 2 PCs were still, they're wounded, but they had, I think one had fly, that went something, whatever it was. They can get the hell out of there, but they could take 1 PC, only 1 PC with them, right? So he rolled randomly, so he wouldn't be biased as to which friend he's going to save. So he rolled randomly, grabbed the monk, that old monk I was telling you about, the blind old bastard. And once they were safely away, I had the player who ran the monk roll the death saves, and it turned out my brother grabbed a live one. So his 2 PCs lived, as did one other player's PC. 3 or 4 other players lost PCs that day, the bulk of the group. So they decided they wanted to keep going after we talked, and they rolled up new PCs, and we had them introduced to the group at an inn nearby or whatever. But that group lost something. The best way I could describe it is that the magic was gone. They lost momentum. I think like the new PCs hadn't been through what the old ones went through. They were 7th level or something, but they had no real accomplishments. They had no depth. The surviving, and they were a level lower than they were because that's how I do it. You're never coming back in the same level. I don't like that. Other than very, very certain situations would I ever allow that. But you're coming back a level below what your guys died at. That way, again, there's got to be a penalty. But even though they were like 6th or 7th level or whatever, they had no accomplishments, they had no depth, whereas the surviving ones had all the depth and they had all the responsibility of the campaign on their back, the reason, the motivations, why they were still going on, why they were doing this thing. The new PCs, they weren't as beloved as the old ones because they didn't have any sort of emotional connection to the PCs yet, right? But the bubble of the campaign kind of popped. As a result of that and some other things going on, a lot of which was my dislike of 5e, I ended that campaign as well as a couple other ones around the same time, I think. Right now in my brother's 5e game, we have some of that going on as well. He's GMing it, and we lost multiple PCs along the way. Only half of the original group is still alive and still has a reason to give a shit about the original motivations of the game, right? It's the Temple of Elemental Evil game. So, save Hamlet, bad guys, ban Moat House, all that kind of shit. So, he overcame some of that lost momentum by giving the new PCs, we're all part of an organization dedicated to a cause that aligns with the original motivations of the group. Now, it aligns with, right, but they have different motivating factors. So while the original PCs still want to protect the village from the bad guys in the temple, it's their home and whatnot, the new guys want to defeat it for other purposes. So while their causes are aligned, what motivates their causes and what they care about is different. What's lost, though, is a bit of that magic of, helping out your local village and caring about the inhabitants and knowing the bartender's name and all that. We lost the sense of being like the local heroes when we start focusing on the big world-ending stuff and the greater story of the campaign. But doing something like this, though, is how you avoid what happened in my game with the fireball situation. It's a good way to keep the campaign going in the face of multiple deaths, especially when it's going to be a campaign that's probably going to have a lot of deaths. This is what you have to do. Something like that to keep it rolling, So he kept it going, whereas I couldn't. So he learned from my failure, I guess, there, Now, while TPK suck for players in the GM, again, they're not something to be avoided. Knowing that there's a chance for everyone to die is what makes this game exciting. There are ways to deal with TPK, some of which I laid out here, but now, overall, you just got to roll with it, just like everything else in life. It just gets harder. I remember there was it was a meme a million years ago. I remember reading when they talked about video games for, nowadays you can win the video game, right? But someone was asking their parent, Dad, what about this video game? How did you win? Blah, blah, blah. And, Pac-Man or Defender or Space Invaders or something. And the father's like, we didn't win our video games, kid. He says they just get harder and harder and faster, and then you die, just like in real life. Yeah, so that's kind of how it works. It's like we got to roll with it, just like everything else in life. Sometimes you die. It's not sometimes. You always fucking die. But along the way, you just got to roll with it. So, anyway. The 2 secret words for today's video. This is the thing, we started a fun little thing that if you're commenting for the algorithm, I'm going to give you words or phrases to use so that you can include it in a comment for the algorithm, and for even more fun, make it somehow relate back to the content of the video here. So, the 2 words of the day, all right? First word is Gilligan. Second word is skipper. All right, we all know where that's from. All right, so try to work in Gilligan and the skipper. I guess the skipper is 2 words itself, the skipper. All right, but Gilligan and the skipper. Try to work that into a comment for the algorithm. Bonus points if you relate it back to the video. All right. Well, thanks very much for listening to this long, guys. Please click like and subscribe if you haven't already, and spread the word. I'm going to start working on my review videos. I'm going to try to do maybe 1 or 2 a week if I can, get them out. I really appreciate all your input. I did that live stream on Saturday, and I'm going to try to do 1 live stream a week, maybe on the weekend, and that was really fun. I realized this is my first solo live stream, so that was pretty cool. I like doing it. I've done plenty of them before, but never like just to sit down and shoot the shit kind of a live stream just by myself. I've always been with other people, the Friday night group or whoever. So this was kind of neat. I look forward to doing some more of these and getting to know you guys better. That was really kind of fun. That was the best part, is getting to know you guys, the one-on-one, the back and forth that you don't get through the comments. Speaking of which, I got a lot of comments to respond to here, so I will talk to you soon, guys, and hope you enjoyed the video. I'll get another one tomorrow, and tomorrow's video is going to be about some more nuts and bolts, like keeping track of time, money, downtime, keeping track of NPCs, keeping track, a lot of stuff, the nuts and bolts of running the game, in the game, vision, light, getting lost, diseases, all this kind of stuff is coming up. So I got at least a couple more videos dealing with those sorts of things. And then after that, we're going to hit the big one, the alignment video. All right? Anyway, I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.